So, back for another VGC guide, and this time we are looking at Skeledirge. Who knows if that's how it's pronounced properly, but that's what I'm going with. So, Skeledirge was the choice of starter that I went with, and I was pretty content with my choice. It was very, very strong throughout the game, and I'm hoping that it will be somewhat strong going into the VGC format as well. I am giving it a B ranking initially. It could be better. I feel like there could be more potential than a B, but for now it seems reasonable enough. So I am going with a throat spray set for my first suggestion, and I've never seen throat spray used really properly in the Generation 8, and I was like the only person that was backing it. I had throat spray on so many things that I probably shouldn't have done. Like I had a Bug Buzz Volcarona that had throat spray. I support Spectria had throat spray, so you could do it with Snarl. Loads of things. Throat spray is an underused item, I think. It was only really seen occasionally on Sylveon and Primarina, but not really. But it works with Torch Song. Torch Song is apparently a sound move. Well, I guess it makes sense because it's a song, but it is a sound move, and it gives you +1. But with Throat Spray, it gives you +2. So effectively, you've got Nasty Plot while still effectively close to a flamethrower. So it's pretty good synergy there with the Torch Song and the Throat Spray, because you effectively Nasty Plot. And that's pretty good. It's got some very good bulk to back it up as well. So that's what I've done. I've tried to maximize the bulk, because you should be setting up with your Throat Spray Torch Song, so you don't need as much special attack. And, well, the benchmarks. I think I survive a Life Orb Crunch from a Roaring Moon. And that's weird to say Roaring Moon, like just actual words. And I think I went for Life Orb Hydreigon Dark Pulse on the special side. So those are the two benchmarks. Like, they may change as we're going forward into the formats and we see what actually ends up happening, but those were the two that I found, so I just went with that, and then hit the jump points for the special attacks. So pretty nice EV spreads. I quite like it, and it's what I'd be using going forward with Skeledirge. And I've rounded out with Shadow Ball and Heat Wave. Protect makes sense on this set, and then Shadow Ball is the coverage, of course. And then Heat Wave, I think it could be either Heat Wave or Slack Off is the other one that I would recommend. If you don't feel like you need the spread, it does get access to recovery, and it is pretty bulky, so you could just have Slack Off. But definitely at least Torch Song and Shadow Ball, and then Heat Wave just gives you the spread option. I think Terra Fire makes sense for this Skeledirge, because you are going to be ideally going for a Torch Song, setting up your +2 special attack with the boost and the Throat Spray, and then you fire off Terra boosted fire Heat Waves. So that's the idea with this one. I think this one should be fire. But speaking of a Throat Spray Skeledirge, this set is also entirely viable. Like I was saying just previously about the Snarl Spectria, so Torch Song and Snarl are both sound-based moves, so both of them would activate the Throat Spray. So this one is a bit more of a supportive one with the option of actually still doing damage, and that's the kind of Pokemon that I like. Like, Superior is my favourite Pokemon because it can do the damage and it can also do the support. So this Skeledirge can very reasonably do that as well. With the Unaware as well, I haven't even mentioned the ability. Unaware is a great ability, ignoring all of the stat boosts from the opponents, so they can't set up and break through the Skeledirge. And then you'll be able to damage reduction them down with the Snarl and the Will-O-Wisp. That classic combination really nice there as well. And then you get Slack Off so that you do have your recovery. So on this one, you do drop Shadow Ball. I think you could maybe have an argument of Shadow Ball over Torch Song, but then you sacrifice some Throat Spray stuff. If you don't want Throat Spray and you want to make it even more bulky, I would recommend Citrus Berry. Maybe Leftovers, but probably Citrus Berry, because you have a form of recovery, so you don't need Leftovers as much, because Slack Off can be 50% as well, and then you get the 75% with the Citrus Berry. So this could be a pretty nice Skeledirge. It may be a bit too slow to support, but it should theoretically have the bulk to be able to start that setup. Or the support, and then be able to slack off while it has damage reduced. So could potentially be able to stall out the game, and that's why I've gone for the Terra Normal type with this Skeledirge, because then if you do turn it into the Normal type, then you've got pretty much no weaknesses apart from fighting. Who's going to punch the Ghost type? So then you're supposed to be able to just stall out with the Snarls and Will-O-Wisp, because you're a normal type and you've got almost no super effective things against you anymore. Because the idea of this one isn't to blast through with the Torch Song, the fire boosted Torch Songs in this case. This one would be able to just survive and stall out with the Slack Offs. So that should be pretty nice with the Skeledirge, and I would recommend the Throat Spray, but Citrus Berry is entirely reasonable. If you don't want to go with that option, then just go straight away with the choice specs and start blasting through. I've gone with the same EV spread for all of them, because I don't feel the need to change between these items, but choice specs will just give you the Throat Spray boost immediately, but then lock you into whatever you go for. So that is the trade-off there. And Torch Song can very much snowball with the choice specs much easier than it could have done with the Throat Spray, because you get an initial boost immediately. The Throat Spray lets you go for the boosted Heat Waves after the Torch Song. This one, you're locked into Torch Song. And I've just gone for Blast Burn as the coverage for the choice specs, because it would do some pretty nice damage with the choice specs. And I don't think you need the coverage of Earth Power. Fire and Ghost is pretty reasonable. You could justify Earth Power over this Blast Burn, and that would be absolutely fine as well. But choice spec Blast Burn is pretty strong, and can just win you the game immediately if you take care of a threat. So that is going to be my guide for Skeledirge for now. And yeah, I think a B is quite reasonable. So that is going to be it for now. And then we'll be moving on to Quaquavel.